Do you feel like you're the main character in your life? Or do you feel rather that you're a supporting actor or actress playing in the background of somebody else's story? According to the self determination theory, as human beings, we thrive when we feel a sense of autonomy. And when we don't feel that sense of autonomy, when we don't feel like we're writing our own story or we're in the driver's seat, then it actually starts to feel like somebody else is writing the script called our life. So let's look at some examples here. Do you wake up in the morning and you scroll through other people's highlight reels before you actually live your own day and your own life? Do you find yourself saying yes to things that you don't really want to say yes to because it's out of habit, out of that people-pleasing habit? I know that I've done that plenty times. When was the last time that you were excited about your own plans and your own goals? Do you remember? I remember a time in my own life where I was definitely the background character, right, in my own story. I remember I would drive to the office and I was on autopilot. I would arrive and I really had no recollection of how I got there. I remember being in a relationship at one time that actually drained me emotionally and also financially, but I was just pouring in. I've been in places in my life where I overpoured into my work, for instance. I was chasing the feeling of being in control, but honestly, I wasn't. And if anything, I just felt numb. Can you relate? Does this sound familiar to you? Psychologists call this narrative foreclosure. And essentially, that is when we stop seeing ourselves as an active writer in our own story. So this is when we think that, you know what, the story's already written and that we can't write a new chapter or rewrite an old one. So that period of my life, that chapter of my life where I was literally on autopilot, I call that the flat chapter. And what that flat chapter has taught me is that, hey, that was not the end, right? You can have a flat chapter, but you can definitely get up and choose to write a new chapter. I didn't need to change my whole life. I just needed to change the narration, and maybe that's exactly where you're at today. So let's look at how we can shift our language and also shift the story that we are telling ourselves. So, for instance, instead of saying I'm behind, you can start saying I'm right on time. I am right on time. I trust that I am right on time. Instead of saying I always attract chaos, you can say I'm learning to choose peace. I'm learning to choose peace. Instead of saying I'm stuck, rather say, I'm being prepared for a new chapter. I'm being prepared for a new chapter. Instead of saying everything's falling apart, rather say everything is being rearranged for my highest and best good. Everything is being rearranged for my highest and best good. Instead of saying I don't know what I'm doing, rather reframe it and say, you know what? I'm learning to find my own rhythm. Yep, that's what it is. I'm learning to find my own rhythm. So, cognitive reframing is a CBT concept, and this concept teaches us that changing the words we use changes the meaning our brain assigns to certain events. And this in turn also changes our emotional response. So we want to start looking at our stories in a way that is empowering and also in a way that lifts us up. There's this really famous saying that says that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at must change. So let's look at 3 different tools that we can use to reclaim our main character energy. Tool number 1 is awareness. So you want to become aware of your inner dialogue. Does it sound like a critic or does it sound like you're the narrator? Think of your awareness like an edit button. Awareness is such a gift because we can't change what we're not aware of, right? So once we're aware, we can actually start working to make those necessary changes. Tool number 2 is language. So we want to replace victimhood language, negative language with language that's empowering, language that's growth. Think of growth language. Author Carol Dweck talks about this. When you use language like yet, or you use language like I'm still learning, then your story is still being written. The chapter is still open. Tool number 3 is action, right? So we need to be taking daily action that reinforces our identity as, hey, I am the narrator here. So that could be journaling for you, or maybe it could be showing up, making sure that you get to the gym every day. Maybe it's even posting that video that's been sitting in your drafts for months, or even just saying no to something and actually protecting your peace. I really believe that God gives us the pen every morning. His mercies are new daily, every morning. And how do we take this pen and rewrite? We write by faith, we write by action, and also through choice. So today I want to challenge you to start rewriting simple sentences about yourself. I am the narrator of my story. I am consistent. I am learning and growing. And I trust that I am on the right path for my life. So why do we want to rewrite sentences about ourselves? This simple act activates the self-affirmation theory. This was developed by Claude M. Steele. And essentially what this is that rewriting sentences changes our self-view. It strengthens our identity and resilience, which is what we want. Proverbs 18:21 tells us that the creative power lies in our tongue. Life and death lie in the power of our tongue. So you don't need to start over. You just need to change the narrative. If this resonated with you, then be sure to join me on my TikTok live. So I do go live every Monday to Friday at 6:30 in the morning. And this week, the topic is reclaiming that main character energy, becoming the main character in our lives again. So you are welcome to come and join me over on TikTok. I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that you can get notifications when I upload another episode. If you're someone that prefers podcasts, then great, because you can also find me on Spotify. So just remember that we are reclaiming our main character energy. And how do you do this? It's one day at a time, one thought at a time, one choice at a time, intentionally. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.